What's going on everybody? My name is Deontay, but you guys can call me Emperor or D-Man, whatever floats your boat. We're back here on some more Soul Leveling Rise Overdrive. Today's video will be centered towards Jinwoo, focused on his Elementalist tree, based on fire and ice damage. So let's go ahead and quickly get into what I have set up for him. For starters, you can see that I only put points in two stats, that being 215 into agility and 201 into intelligence. Put simply, I chose these stats for my critical hits, my mana and mana regeneration, and a larger window for my evasions if needed. Speaking of stats, let's go ahead and go to our stat detail screen. As you can see here, both my critical hit damage and defense penetration are my key points to my overall damage on my Elementalist. Both of them are essential to how I play Jinwoo against boss enemies, as I tend to do a lot of flame damage from a large area effect. Now, for the weapons we're using on this build, the main one is the Phoenix Soul, which is essential to most of my build as I want to stay range and do a lot of fire damage. And this bow is pretty much perfect for both. The secondary weapon I'm using is the Frostbite Falcon, and I really like to use this weapon beside the Phoenix bow, and that's simply because this weapon is really good at freezing enemies, which allows me to use a lot of my attacks while the enemy is frozen. For my blessing stones, the first one I'm using is the weakness detection, which is essentially the blessing stone that's specific to the Elementalist skill tree, as it says on the right side of my screen. All it does is further enhance what we already have in the Elementalist skill tree, if you want to think of it that way. For the second blessing stone, I am using the double-edged sword, which is pretty clear what it does. We get a significant increase to our damage and our enemies get that same exact effect. But we're playing range for a good portion of battle anyway, thanks to the Phoenix Soul. Then for our third blessing stone, I am using the steel scales for some survivability, as our damage taken is very low for that one hit we might take. Lastly, I'm using the Candiari's blessing, which simply gives us a HP increase. Alright, for the skill tree, as you can see here, my elemental skill tree is maxed out, as you should expect. This really all comes into preference if you don't have enough skill scrolls to completely max it out. So I'll just say for the majority who would want damage, then fire is your best bet to start off with. However, for the people who are all about debuffing and their elemental status effects, then ice is your best friend. As you can see at the start, you have Cold Storm, which is very good for inflicting cold ice on the enemy. But if you look further down here, you have Frozen Ring. Frozen Ring enhances this with a literal ring of ice around you that attacks. Obviously, for my weapon skill tree, I will have pretty much all my points into bow. As I mentioned before, that the Phoenix Soul is really powerful, so it will only make sense for me to put most of my points into the bow skill tree. But in the future, when I make another video for my Elementalist Jinwoo, I will have a fair amount of my sword skills up here. And obviously for my physique, that it will be maxed out. And then on top of that, I do have a few points into Monarch's Awakening, which is more onto the Umbral Vision side. And that's what I'm aiming at. But I did want to put a little bit in the Soul Liberation only for these two, for the Monarch's Cloak, which give us the little shield, and then we have Shell's Deed 1, which is just a damage increase. Now then, on to the artifacts. I'm using the Almighty Shaman set on the left side, and then I'm using the Beast set on the right side. Starting with the Almighty Shaman set, the reason for this is to stack up my burn damage, as my main weapon does immense levels of flame damage, not to mention the added bonus of our defense penetration. Then for the Beast set, this helps a lot with both our critical hit rate and damage, which makes our Phoenix Soul way more even powerful than it already is right now. As you can tell, the Elementalist skill tree is a very powerful class for Jinwoo. I would even say that is one of the best in endgame for farming. That aside though, let's go ahead and give this build a little test run, shall we? Alright, let's go ahead and fight.
this. You can't avoid it. Now, shut up. You think I'm going to miss? You think I'm going to miss? Take this. Too easy.
I am surprised I connected. Okay.
Take this. This is the end. Time for a two-slide. I'll shred you. Breathe. Take this. You can't avoid it. You're an unworthy opponent. Disappear! All creations bow to my will.
Oh, that hit me. Okay.
You think I'm going to miss? It's over. Death, come forth. Return.
I'm gonna put a stop to that.
Shadow strike. Now, you can't avoid it. You think I'm going to miss? You think I'm going to miss? Too easy.
And there you have it. Alright. That shall be the end of today's video. I will say that I do have another co-op video coming out soon. On top of that, I will have another video for Jinwoo, his ruler build, coming out right after that. And then I'll have some a little bit special on this game for Valentine's Day. Anyways, I'll catch y'all later.